Hello, everyone, and welcome to Up to Bat. I'm your host, Rayna Maggelet, and today I'm joined alongside virtually 19-year-old University of Alabama swimmer who qualified for the 2024 U.S. Olympic trials, Tommy Hagar. Hi, Tommy. How are you?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I am very excited for this podcast. You are my first swimmer and definitely my first potential Olympian. So it means a lot for you
Mhm.
to come on, and I got a lot to ask.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's jump straight into it, starting with the Olympic trials. You actually qualified for the trials even before getting to Tuscaloosa. So, what
Mhm.
was your reaction back then to finding out that you qualified for the trials?
I was excited. I was super excited knowing that I'd be able to swim in that meet a year ago when I first made it. It was just it's always a big goal. It's one of those meets that you always look up to from when you're really young. Going through club swimming and high school swimming, it's always just a big goal that you see there and you get closer and closer. And then finally knowing that I can do it before I even swim the race is like a good confidence booster. And then swimming the race and actually doing it is kind of like a big breath, knowing that I just like have it under my belt and I'm gonna go no matter what, even if I make more events or just kind of, stay the same, but like I know that I'm gonna go now.
What events did you compete in at the trials?
At the trials, I did the 100-meter backstroke, the 200-meter backstroke, and the 200-meter IM. I also qualified in the 400 IM, 400-meter IM, but considering how close it was to the 100-meter backstroke, I decided to opt out of that and just swim the 100 backstroke on that day.
Awesome. So, you finished 10th place at your very first Olympic trials, which is mind
Mhm.
blowing considering you are only 19 years old. What was
Yeah.
going through your head when you found this out?
I was excited. I mean, the trials are structured in a way where you have to swim most events 3 times, so it's kind of goes in a lot into it. And I was confident, but also nervous getting ready for this 200 backstroke, which is what I finished 10th place in. It's my best event. I knew I could do something in it, and like had like trusted my training. So in that first swim that I had, I swam, dropped a lot of time and went finally somewhere like close to my training. Like I knew I could see it through training and stuff. And then, I think I was after prelims, I was 4th place. And then swimming it again is a tough doing it the right after probably 6, 7 hours later is tough, especially right after going to best time. So then I added slightly and almost got into that top 8, but just barely missed it. But I was still super happy with the results, and I thought like I'm happy to see what comes over the next few years and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Congratulations. That's
Yeah.
huge to hear. So, how did the training and the coaching at Bama strengthen your performance to help you prepare for such a prestigious opportunity like the Olympic trials?
Yeah, I think it helped a tremendous amount. College swimming is definitely a big step up from club. Just having, especially Bama, having everything right, like having all these people working for you, trying to help you reach your goal. And this doesn't just apply to swimming, obviously. It applies to all the teams there. They do a really good job of, make sure the nutrition is right there, make sure your strength training is right there. The weight room was a big thing that came into play when I was coming into the team as a freshman because I never really weight trained before like this seriously and this like consistent. So that was a huge thing. And then just having the coaches on deck that have a lot of experience both in and out, like as coaches and as swimmers. A lot of them are previous swimmers at high levels too. That was a huge plus where because they just knew what it was like to compete at these different meets and just they were there mentally with you. They knew how you felt, so it was a lot easier to get coached by them and like they've like studied of course the coaching too and they just do a great job of training and practice and it was really helpful going into college. I mean, club swimming is obviously helpful, but there's just differences that can make or break swimmers once you get into college.
Following with that, how did you personally prepare mentally and physically for the trials?
Um, For the trials, I was going in like, I mean, this is my first trials. I was just going in trying to have fun, to be honest. Like, I wasn't expecting to make the team, or even, I mean, like 10th place was a huge, that's like close. Like, I wasn't expecting to be super close to anything like that. I just wanted to go in, trust my training, and just see what I could do, kind of thing. I mean, of course I was nervous, but I tried to like make it more about the experience, having fun. I mean, still doing the right things. I wasn't just like, I wasn't just like not caring about the meet,
Yeah.
but I was still like caring but having fun. And I think I do the best at those types of meet where I kind of just like I can see a bunch of people that I haven't seen in a while from across the country that I've been racing for a while. And like I can just have fun and swim, do the stuff I've been training for.
Obviously, having fun is probably one of the biggest or most important things in it, but also making sure that you're staying in the right mindset. So that's really good to hear that you both had that good balance to have fun as well as do your best. You just told me right before this interview that the Olympic trials that you competed in took place in a football field. Talk to me about that. How was that?
That was very different than any other swim meet I've been to. It was just so the old trials, I never went to a trials before. I just missed the one back in 2021 when I was 16.
Mm.
Just missed that one. And they used to do it in a basketball stadium every year. They build the pool up from the ground in the stadiums, and then like they sell those parts off after the fact of the meet to other like companies that will then build the pool permanently somewhere else. But it being in a football stadium was just like a surreal experience. It made swimming feel, sometimes swimming just doesn't get the same type of, like, it doesn't have the same reputation as other sports, and like the crowd might not always be there, the sounds, like the budget sometimes doesn't seem like it's there, but this meet really brought it out. Like it was like up there, and I think it's huge because at the Olympics, it's one of the most popular sports to watch, I feel, and like it just doesn't get that type all 4 years round. So only the people that are at the Olympics really get to see how popular it really is, in some, like, in the whole world. But yeah, it was really surreal just having all these people coming from around the country just to see. I mean, there was parents, younger swimmers, swimmers my age coming to watch, and I think that's just like really cool to get everyone together and have this experience. And it was just like it was really good for the sport. I think it helped get some people talking about swimming. I know there was a lot of not just like swimming news stations, but like other just sports news stations talking about how this pool is in a stadium, and how this is maybe the next thing of what's to come with swimming, because I think this might have been like the first step to, now apparently they just announced that in LA in 2028 they're going to do the same thing in the Chargers stadium. They're going to put a pool in the stadium. So I think this was just kind of the test, and it worked out great. Just like so many people.
Yeah, swimming is definitely an underrated sport, and it makes me very happy to hear how big it's really getting and finally getting the recognition that it deserves, because it's an incredibly hard sport, and I'm sure you can back me on that.
Yeah.
You are one of only 6 freshmen from Bama that qualified for the trials.
Mm,
Congratulations again. How does
thank you.
that feel to be recognized for your achievements so early on in your collegiate career?
I mean, it means a lot. I know I've been working for this, and all my other teammates are working, just as hard. And some of them had tough swims and might have not been able to come to the meet. But I think we're just building on it. We're just building on it. There's been a lot of changes with our program in the past few years, and I think we're really starting to come together as a group. And that's Alabama as a whole. I think all of our sports are really starting to develop. Like football was always there. Football has always been there. it's always been that like backbone in the athletics department. But now the money's coming in, and it's really they're helping develop all other sports. Basketball's coming up, baseball, gymnastics for girls, volleyball, like track. I just see all these sports really rising up in the rankings.
Last question regarding the trials. What were the biggest roadblocks you faced preparing and competing in the trials?
Um, Getting ready for the trials, I mean, it was definitely tough. Just a lot of changes right before trials. I mean, obviously, I was living in a dorm for most of the year, but I had to move out of that dorm in May. Keep in mind the trials were in June, so I had to move out of that dorm in May. I knew I was getting an apartment, but just like a new college student, the whole moving process is new to me, and that was kind of a big toll, I'll say, like especially just like taking a few days to move and like still trying to focus on training and still trying to focus on this other stuff. And I mean, even before that, like focusing on finals right before I knew I was gonna move, I was like, "Oh, I have to focus on finals, then I have to focus on moving, and then I have to focus on this next meet that I have this like tune-up meet before trials." And it was definitely stressful, but I'm like, I think I got through it well. And just, I mean, everyone has to deal with it. It's the same move like freshmen, like you're gonna have to deal with it, and it just helps you get ready for like when you're gonna move again and stuff like that later on.
It's definitely impressive that you were able to balance moving out, finals, and apartment moving into, and competing and preparing for the Olympic trials. Very impressive. Switching gears here, you attend University of Alabama, and Bama has a reputation of being obviously a party school and very up there. How did you balance your athletic life, your school life, as well as your social life?
Yeah, I think that was definitely a change going into this big school like this. I knew I was going to go into this atmosphere that was very party like, very sports like football, this big stuff, and I was excited for it. It's a good experience, but really what helped me was my teammates. Like my teammates were very they were. I was in my teammate bubble, obviously. I talked to other people that weren't in my bubble. I was friendly with other people that were in my bubble, but having teammates that were there to, train hard with, but then also have fun with, on the weekends, and you can do that stuff. And then there's the times where it's like we have this meet in a month and a half, and then we kind of lock in. I mean, we still hang out on the weekends, do our thing and stuff, and we'll do activities. We'll play pickleball and all that like fun stuff, just staying active and moving. But we know that as a team, we're gonna focus on this meet, and our captains were really helpful. And like, we have stuff to focus on. We're here for a reason. It's not like you don't want to get distracted. And then from a school perspective, I mean, that was a little different going into college. Figuring out that I had to study on my own a little more than just doing all the work kind of thing, because a lot of the classes are just like they teach you stuff, and then they don't really give you that much homework. And it's like you don't really think you're like, oh, this class isn't hard, and then you start getting to the tests, and you're like getting
Sure.
like hit after hit with the test, and you're like, oh, I gotta actually start like studying and practicing a little more, because it's not like high school anymore. And just trying to find a balance where you knew like just trying to find a schedule where you could like do homework, like a study and have class in between practices. You just had to find that. And like at Alabama too, it's very helpful because for athletes, they have academic advisors, tutors, which are really helpful for us.
I'm curious how you got to Bama. Did you receive offers from other universities? And if so, what schools were they?
I received offers from other universities. Uh, College recruiting and swimming is a little different than a lot of the other sports people see, like football, basketball. I feel like in the swimming world, you really need to like talk to a school to get an offer. Sometimes,
Mhm.
sometimes schools just throw out offers, especially in football. Like
Yeah.
if you like talk to them once or not even, they'll just be like throw you an offer kind of thing. I feel like in the swimming world, it's a little more, you need to really talk to the schools like back and forth to like get an offer. You got to really get to know these people. So I talked to a few other schools. I was talking to um, I talked to I talked to most the Ivies because that was kind of like getting around here. I live in Massachusetts, so I talked to Harvard. I talked pretty heavily with Harvard actually, and then I talked. One of the other big schools I talked to was the University of Minnesota.
Wow.
Um, and I mean, I was kind of all over the place. I wanted to check, like, just see where everything was,
Mhm.
and the thing that came down to it with Bama was just like the facilities and the people.
Mhm.
I mean, even coming from the North, I think like people look down on Southern schools, especially from an academic perspective, and I just don't think they should. Like, I think I mean, obviously, there's these really high schools, prestigious, like, all this stuff, but I think that, like, some of these Southern schools, you can do a really good job in, even if they're not, academically, like, as challenging as some of those other schools, I think you can do a really good job. It's kinda just up to you as a person. You can be successful in any school you go to, you know?
Yeah.
And just yeah, continue. Yeah.
So the Crimson Tide sent a total of 10 student athletes to the U.S. Olympic trials. So going back to Bama, how are the coaching styles for swimming and diving like at Bama?
The coaching is that what you said?
Yeah, like what would you say stands out to University of Alabama's swimming program compared to other D1 schools that you've talked to or that you've noticed?
Well, I think we definitely have a younger staff, a more energetic staff. It makes it a lot of fun to be at practice. Especially at the start of the year when I first came, it was just like a little different than like what I've heard about some college swimming and what I've dealt with club. Just we had a really fun, energetic staff that was always like ready to do stuff. Some of our coaches even will just do like parts of the workout, like, and stuff like that. And it would like not in this pool, but like in the dry land when they're demonstrating and stuff. They can just do it as well. So it was just kind of cool that they were there and really energetic for everything. And I think that was really helpful when you're in the pool. I mean, swimming, for the most part, the training, the coaching will be pretty similar at a lot of these higher schools. I mean, you have your distance group, you have your mid distance group, and you have your sprint, and those vary and all sorts of stuff. But I think most schools will do similar stuff for the most part. I mean, they all learn off each other. They see what's online, and I think they do for the most part. And I think sometimes one of the biggest changes is like how energetic or like how the coaches can adapt to like personality wise what they're like in the pool.
Yeah, absolutely. Last question, talking about your collegiate career. Your first year, what was the biggest takeaway you gathered from swimming collegiately and coaching under a collegiate staff?
I think the biggest thing I took away was probably just being patient with training, like especially when I got to college. I mean, like, I did a lot of stuff in high school. I was obviously, I was training a lot, like, compared to most people, but when I got to college, it was, like, a new level, and I know some people have already been on that new level for a while in high school, but I was kinda glad that I didn't really get to that, like, 20 hours a week type training until college, because I don't maybe like, I feel like it could've, like, possibly burnt me out, but I think, like, now that I'm here, I'm still improving. I'm still happy to go to practice most of the time.
Mhm.
Obviously, I'm not gonna say all the time because it is hard to wake up in the morning sometimes, but I'm happy to go to practice. I'm happy to get in the water and get better. And it's just like it's a new type of training that I've like never done. So I think it's like it just kind of resets your. Sometimes I get those little breaks in the sport because I've been doing it for so long that you get like a reset And I think that's with every sport. Like sometimes you get sick of it, especially if you're just doing it all the time. And like having like a slightly different training style can really like reset you up
Mhm.
and like help your energy for the sport like just like improve.
Taking it back to your early swimming days, when and why did you begin swimming?
I began competitive swimming when I was probably 6 years old, so like 13 years ago now. Um, For the most part, it was just for fun. All my cousins, family, just we swam like for fun. We learned how to swim when we were really young. My aunt did. My aunt like coached swimming a little, and she helped us learn all the strokes when we were 3, 4 years old, like very young. So we all just kind of had that background. And my parents and my aunts were like, "Oh, we should just do this with all the cousins. We should just like try recreational swimming out." So, I mean, that's kinda how it went. I started with, like, basic summer league stuff,
Mhm.
just like the Y team, YMCA teams in the summer, and it was super fun. And then I moved up a little, kept moving up. Like then I joined a USA team, like a club team. And then next thing you know, like I just keep stacking up club teams. I'm changing to different club teams and all this stuff. I'm going to like bigger and better meets. And I mean, it's stayed fun for a while. And then like, there's always the bumps in the road, I think when I was around 13, it was probably a little bit of a bump in the road. I kind of got burnt out a little, but then I changed teams and I kind of just got back into it, got like a little reset. And that was what I was talking about earlier, like that little training, like new people, new training, just kind of like helped me get that reset that I needed.
Definitely being in a new environment, especially in a position where you feel burnt out. Like you said, it feels like a reset button. So that's
Mhm.
awesome that Bama and back then it did that for you. Um, did you participate in any other sports growing up, or have you always stuck strictly with swimming?
No, I was playing a bunch of different sports when I was younger. I played soccer, not too long, but the normal, like you start off when you're 4 playing a little bit of soccer and stuff like that. And then I mean I played baseball for a while. I got a little serious into that, doing summer ball, but basically stopped that like right after Little League. And
Mhm.
then I mean basketball has been a sport that's like always there, like just to have fun with, and I still like play pickup sometimes, and just like shoot around. I think that's always a sport I've had fun with, and I played that till, like, almost freshman year, but then when I got to high school, I knew, like I mean, even before high school a little, I knew that, like, swimming, I was gonna probably just, like, settle down on and, like, that was gonna be my main sport, and, I mean, that's what happened definitely when I got to high school, but I was doing, like, intramurals till, like, 8th grade freshman year for basketball.
Wrapping up the interview with my final question, what goals have you set for yourself in the future, and how do you plan on achieving them?
Yeah, so, I mean, after the season, kinda took a week to review, like, and,
Mhm.
like, reflect on my freshman year, and I think, like, over the next few years, I don't have, like I'm trying not to think of, like, super specific goals, but I've definitely thought of just, like, improving on myself, my times, seeing what I can do in the college thing, like the college scene, like
Yeah.
SEC championships, NCAA championships. Just want to improve from where I was, stuff like that. And I want to like be with my team and like help them do the best as possible. And then from like a long course perspective, like international meet perspective, I just want to keep improving in that scene. Move up into the national team area kind of thing and like see if I can make any international meets and represent like Team USA in the next 3 years, even if it's not for like the Olympics, because there's like a lot of other meets you can like try to represent them in.
Well, unfortunately, this is all the time we have for the interview, but I want to thank you again so much for joining and talking about your past, present, and future with swimming. And I had a great time. I learned a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Well, I look forward to seeing what other great achievements you make in the future. And thank you everyone for watching this episode with Tommy Hagar. This is Up to Bat with Rayna Maggelet. Bye.